Hello, it's Amy Zabe with the Friday Red Alert for May 13th. This is the Jerusalem Connection Report. Last Friday on May 6th, I had the privilege to attend the Christian Solidarity event at the Israeli Embassy in Washington, D.C. Ambassador Ron Dermer used this opportunity as keynote speaker to specifically address the issue of BDS, boycott, divest, and sanction the State of Israel and also the Jewish people. Out of all the things he could have discussed that morning, policy issues within the United States Senate or Congress, the Obama administration, shared theological foundations, he chose to address the issue of BDS and its danger for both Jews and Christians. The first thing Ambassador Dermer did was explain that not all people who might participate in BDS actions or activities are necessarily anti-Semitic or anti-Zionist. However, he also explained how you can quickly educate an acquaintance if they are mistakenly or unknowingly acting upon an anti-Semitic action. Anti-Semitism, in short, is when you take a set of criteria or a measuring stick to judge or evaluate Israeli policy or actions or Jewish people, and you then don't use the same criteria for other things, people, countries, nations, that also might be the subject of debate or discernment. The answer is that any particular individual might say, well, of course I use the same measuring stick and I judge China or Pakistan or Egypt or Syria on the same level. However, the BDS movement as a whole does not. While they claim to be acting in part for the rights of Palestinians and human rights issues in the Middle East, the reality is that they make no mention or any efforts to expose any neighboring nation's atrocities, and as well often fail to realize the protections these people do have within the nation of Israel, and they also ignore various other truths and use lies or, at the very least, skewed conceptions of events to make their case. The revelation that one has to admit that the BDS movement as a whole does not equally apply its measuring stick to the neighbors is something most people, reasonable people, will admit once they dig into the issue. Another point that Ambassador Dermer made is that during the 1970s, the first Intifada, which is a terrorism wave, was said to be because there was an ongoing peace process, and this upset the people. Then the second wave was said to be because there was no peace process in play, and this upset the people. So what terrorism does to fight physically against the civilian population of Israel and Jews worldwide also is what the BDS movement does in an economic and propaganda way to sway public opinion. That is to use whatever circumstance or condition is at hand as an excuse to attack Israel or the Jewish people. Therefore, by definition, it's anti-Semitic, it's discriminatory, and it is now becoming illegal in more and more places. What was even more interesting is that Arab-Israeli Christian George Deek, a Fulbright scholar and former Israeli diplomat, offered prayers for both America and Israel during this breakfast. What better way to illustrate the shared DNA amongst Christians and Jews than through George's presence? The ambassador also addressed the issue of BDS among certain Christian denominations. Mostly these churches espouse something called replacement theology, which is a whole separate study. But in short, replacement theology is a doctrine some Christian churches have, mainstream Christian churches, wherein the Old Testament is deemed null and void with the New Testament, and any references to Israel, old or new, should be swapped out with the term the New Testament church. That's sort of a quick way of explaining it. However, it is theologically unsound. Nevertheless, just this week, on May 11th, the New Jersey State Legislature passed its anti-BDS measures. This is a great step forward, as about 27 U.S. states have passed similar measures, wherein state funds, particularly pension funds and other state monies, are forbidden to be invested or in any way used with companies that espouse or engage in BDS actions. In these bits of legislation, including New Jersey's, is an open declaration that BDS is anti-Semitic and discriminatory, and they also usually include a declaration where the state is reiterating its friendship for Israel and Israel's importance in the Middle East as a beacon of freedom and democracy. The next best thing to standing with Israel is standing in Israel. That's what the ambassador left us with last week. Shavua Tov, have a great week. Shabbat Shalom.